About 8 years ago, I started writing a book called Dear Writer, You Need to Quit. And it was not at all trying to convince people that they needed to quit writing. Instead, it was to convince us that we need to quit a lot of other stuff. But when I realized that that book was written essentially during the gold rush still, like it was in the middle of the end of the gold rush, we were still really experiencing a lot of overwhelm about how much opportunity there was. And it was really speaking a language to people that was specific to its time. And as I have coached so many thousands of people more since that day, I've decided that it's time to write a new book in the vein of that original. And it's called Dear Writer, You Still Need to Quit. And I want to talk about it for just a second about why this book is so important and why I think it's important for us to consider the message, even if we're not going to read it. So let's talk about it. The first thing I want to say really quick is that if you are watching this in November of 2025, we're currently running the Kickstarter and we have some very special prizes for people who are in the launch phase of the Kickstarter and during the Kickstarter itself that's live. We have some friendship bracelets that we're going to be giving away to people who decide that they want to participate in the Kickstarter and who are insiders and who have purchased something and have come to one of the podcasts that we're doing over the course of the whole phase, the pre-launch phase and the launch phase. And we're going to have some friendship bracelets that were made by us, and we have some of them to choose from. And we have our last opportunities just before the Kickstarter ends to be able to participate in that and to get one of those in a drawing. Again, all rules apply, no purchase necessary. You can fill the form out even if you don't back the Kickstarter. I just would really appreciate it if you would back the Kickstarter, but if you don't, that's fine. I think this book in particular, and the reason that I'm doing so much work trying to promote this book over the course of these 6 weeks that we have the Kickstarter open, is that I think it's really important for us now more than ever to be thinking about resilience and sustainability when it comes to our author careers. But it's not a be more sustainable. It's not a hey, you need to find more reasons to be resilient or you need to find more within yourself. It is an intentional practice that I have now of, and I have said this multiple times throughout the course, and it's said in the book as well over the course of the Kickstarter, which is the grass is greener where I water it. And so I am intentionally trying to do some grass watering in the realm of my creativity, in the realm of my enthusiasm about the future of my own personal writing career. I'm not going to think about what's going on in the larger publishing industry right now. I'm not going to think about the patterns. I'm not going to think about what it has to say for anyone else. All I'm going to think about is what I want to get out of my career. And I know for myself that no matter what happens, I am always going to be writing and I'm always going to be publishing because now I know how to do it. Regardless of whether there is an opportunity for me to make piles of money in the future or not, regardless of whether a million people ever read my stuff, it doesn't really matter to me anymore because I have recognized that as the game changes, I have less and less and less control over the outcome of my career, except in this one very specific area. And the one area I know I have control over is, can I remind myself of what I love about doing this? Can I practice watering the grass and making it greener so that I will be able to do this for the rest of my life? And so that's what I'm doing now. Part of it is my gratitude practice. I talk about this a little bit in the book. Part of it is my regular expansion of creativity. So I'm not just settling for how I've been creative in the past. I'm intentionally trying to expand my creativity. I'm using my work in my day job, like I am a coach by day. So I'm using my work in my day job to make sure that I can pay my bills so that it allows me to have the freedom to practice their creativity that I want to. And it may not be exciting for me. I may not love this work all the time. It may still be work for me to do the work, is what I'm saying. Whereas I feel like the years that I was spending in complete full-time fiction authorship, which has been a little bit for me, right? Because this job has very much taken over all of my time. I love this job. I love the meaning that I get from it. But I've also been in jobs that I didn't love before, that I was not excited about, but I would do them And I would be as present as I could to what I could get out of them because I knew that I needed that creativity later for my books. I knew I needed that outlet at some point for my writing, and I couldn't afford to let myself get dragged down by it. So I did everything I possibly could to protect that space. And the one thing that I want authors to think about is this concept of the grass is green where I water it. So instead of thinking about what might happen or what is frustrating me or what's hard, I want us to just shift a little bit of focus, not to making things up, not to pretending things are good when they're not, but shift my focus a little bit into what is it that I like about this? Where am I getting my best moments of writing? I have this experience sometimes, and it makes me excited just to think about it. So hopefully, those of you who have empathy or like getting a little bit of the creativity high off of this, what I'm about to say. But I have this experience where I have this really beautiful little view outside of my deck, and it's a very narrow slice of beauty because all around me, I live in suburbia, so all around me, it's not that fun. But I have this very narrow slice of beautiful view that I can see from this one very specific seat in my dining room, right? So I have this little space and I intentionally only sit in that chair. I don't sit anywhere else. I could sit lots of other places and have to look at things that do not inspire me, that don't make me want to write, where I'm not excited. I could focus on all of those other places, but I choose not to. I choose to sit in that chair. I choose to look at the sunrise. I choose to have my coffee and my breakfast and my quiet and my YouTube. And I choose to get up a little bit early because I have to start work usually at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. So I'm getting up so I can have this time in the morning. I choose to have that time. And I choose to be creative during that time. I don't let anything else in. I don't open social media. I don't open email. I just go straight there. And I have this set of songs that I listen to, or I'll pull up the Skyrim Autumn Ambience on YouTube. And then I will let myself fall all the way into the book. And whatever it is that I'm writing, I just want to be present to how fun it is to be creative. And that's all I'm thinking about in that moment. I'm not allowing myself, if I start to think too much about stress or what might happen, etc., then I try to refocus myself. But honestly, at this point, if I don't let it in, early in the morning, it's not coming in until I let it in. So I'm intentionally trying to remain focused and I put every part of my environment on alert for me to hone in on that focus and I just don't let other things in. I have stopped letting my Alexa little, like I used to have this little thing. Um, Now I'm worried that I've said her name out loud, and so now she's going to start listening to me. But I have moved my little robot into a different part of the house because I used to see it when I would come downstairs and there would be news headlines on it. And so immediately I was stressed out from the very first thing in the morning. So now what I've done is I've just turned that in a different direction and then I ended up having to put it in a different place because it was just a pattern thing. But I now don't have that immediate thing in the morning and I can spend time on my own really delving into what I want to do with my own creativity and not worrying about other things for a couple of hours. And for me, this grass is green where I water it thing is the thing that I want us all to remember about how this process works. It is the fact that we have control over where we choose to put our attention. And if we choose to let other things and other people and other places take our attention away, then we are making that choice. We may not be consciously making it, but we have the capacity to hone ourselves and make conscious choices to look at other things. Often we just don't want to. So I'm going to encourage you consciously to choose to water the grass so it's green when you look at it. And the quitting for me, the major quitting is the quitting this expectation that I don't have control over what's happening, that I'm just a boat afloat in this sea, where I do still have agency in this space. And I maybe have more agency than I even realize I have, just in how I attune my attention and how I maintain my security. So I want us to think about that, right, as we move through this new year, and as we move into a new year of publishing, and as we're in the middle of this transition, still, we're not fully transitioned away from the gold rush because there still is a lot of gold rush mentality moving around. I would love it if we would quit the gold rush mentality, but that's got to take time, right? It's got to take all of the people who were benefiting from the gold rush mentality happening fading away and stopping their voices. And then at some point, we'll replace them with new voices. And then we'll start to really make some momentum on how do we get the most out of this new experience of publishing. It may not be what we thought it could be, but it doesn't have to be depressing or disappointing just because we're now in a new age, because we now have so much agency that we didn't have before the gold rush happened, right? The gold rush was what brought us the agency that we have. Now that we have it, we can learn, we can connect, and we're going to do so much more of this in the future. So I want to talk to you about just a couple of things on this Kickstarter that I think are really important. And I hope that you will come and join us on this Kickstarter because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The first one is that I'm going to do a workshop about how to integrate some of the business editing that we've been talking about, how to integrate some of the information about business phases. So if you haven't yet learned about the business phases, we have a video that I have published previously on this channel. I will put it in the show notes. We have some deeper dive workshops that you can go and do on our Patreon. If you want to do those, I'll put a link to that page. So there's lots of options in learning about that. But then as part of this Kickstarter, I'm doing this workshop to try to do some deeper diving into how to apply this to your author life and how to intentionally water that grass, how to make yourself be excited about what might happen and throw yourself kind of headlong into the future in a way that I think will be really helpful for us. So that's one thing. The other thing we're doing are these pop-up events. And the pop-up events, I'm not sure because I'm recording this before we actually close the Kickstarter. I'm not sure if all the pop-up events have been taken yet, but here's what we're going to do with these. And I'm super excited about how this might work. So we are going to allow 10 people to choose where we do an in-person community event for the Better Faster Academy. And we have a list of rules inside of the level on the Kickstarter. And there will be some like I need a certain proximity to a major airport and things like that, just so I can get in and out of them. There are some country restrictions, like because I know I won't be able to travel any more than I'm traveling. So in terms of out of the country. So I have some restrictions about like USA, Canada, Germany for right now. In the next Kickstarter we run, we may open that up to other countries, including potentially Ireland, England, Wales, and then other parts of Europe and potentially Australia, New Zealand. We'll see about that. So give us some time if you're in those spaces. But at least in the continental US, Alaska, Hawaii, Canada will be on the list as well. And then Germany, we're going to have the option of running we're going to have the option of buying a seat at a pop-up event where you get to choose the date so that we can make sure that we schedule around the person. And then you are going to do a meal with me on your own where we just hang out. I'll coach you for however long the meal takes. We'll chat about strengths. We can chat about whatever you want to. I you can ask me about my How I Met Your Mother fandom if you want to. You can ask me about Buffy stuff, whatever you want to ask me about. I don't care. But I'm assuming most people want to talk about either strengths or Enneagram or publishing. But you have the option, and what you're essentially buying in this pop-up event is you are buying the right to choose a location center where we try to hit. So we'll have a rule about the number of hours away from the airport and stuff like that that you'll be able to follow. You can always email us, assistant@betterfasteracademy.com if you have questions. But we're going to sell a certain number of those because we want to do some in-person community-oriented things. And I'm already planning a few of them. We're doing one in Portland, Vegas. We have a Boston one planned next year, a Los Angeles one planned next year already. So there are going to be some options in the future, and check out betterfasteracademy.com/events if you want to know more about those pop-up events. But I'm going to allow you to do some choosing because I want to go where the community is. And so I hope that will be helpful for you. So please go check the Kickstarter out as well. We've got the Dear Writer You Still Need to Quit book. We're going to do a limited release vinyl album as a collectible for this particular Kickstarter instead of a card. So I hope you'll enjoy that as well. And then, as always, we want to end with the action point of please go and open the manuscript. Let's go open the manuscript. I will see you on the next Quitcast, everybody. Bye.